One of our gardens is severely overgrown and I need to reclaim it. It's been neglected for the past several years and there has just been an incredible amount of weeds that have grown up through it. The grass has encroached on it and it's really lost its footprint. And I'm going to try something that I have seen market gardeners do, and that is a process called occultation. It's similar to solarization, but it's technically different. And what occulation does is you lay this black tarp down on it for a long period of time, and it blocks the light and it heats the soil, and it basically kills everything that is growing on top of it. With solarization, it's a bit different in that solarization uses clear plastic and it uses the greenhouse effect to get everything very, very hot. Now, solarization is a little bit more effective because it does a better job at killing the seeds that are deeper in the soil so you don't have that regrowth next season. But it also can kill the beneficial organisms that are living in that soil because it gets so hot. And that's something that occultation does not do as much of. So I'm going to give this a shot. It is the beginning of August and I'm not going to plant in this garden until next March or next April. And so I have a very long window of when I'm going to leave this tarp on. And my hope is that I will be able to reclaim the garden's footprint. I will be able to kill the weeds that are on top. And when I go to plant next spring, it will be easier for me to manage the weeds. But before I do that, I need to fix a problem that's a little bit more pressing. We've been out of town for about a week, and before we left, our tomatoes were just starting to ripen. And when we got back, the deer had gotten to everything. We still have like 50 days in our growing season, so I think that there's still an opportunity for us to get a harvest out of it, but I need to make sure that the deer don't come back. Now, we use these Vego garden beds because we like the look of them a lot, and the company sells attachments where you can put a bit of a cage almost on top of your beds to keep insects out and animals out. Those attachments are super expensive. They're like $120 and I have 8 beds. And I'm not going to drop that amount of money on these beds, so I'm going to build one myself. So what I have done is I have printed a little bracket that I can put on the side of the beds that holds a 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and from there I can create basically 2 designs. One of those designs can be a cage, which will be taller and can fit these tomatoes, and the other will be more of like a hoop house, which I'll use for my lower growing crops, things like kale or carrots or what have you. I'm going to be using insect netting. I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep the deer out. I'm hoping it's enough to at least deter the deer, but it should also be helpful for the beetles that we get, and also my chickens, who apparently love making dust baths in my garden bed. So if I can keep the chickens out, that's a huge win. And if I can keep the deer out, then that'll be perfect. This garden bed is really overgrown. My original plan was to run some of the chicks that I raised this spring inside of this garden bed to kind of suppress the weeds, but it didn't really work out. And next spring I want to use this bed, so I have to prep it now.
So hot.
I ended up repurposing this netting to put it around my pumpkins. My hope here is that it deters the chickens from getting in them. I don't know if it totally will, but that's the idea. It looks like we still have a couple of baby pumpkins out. As I've been poking around, I've seen bees in the flowers, so I know that they're going to pollinate, or they're probably going to produce. I just need to keep the chickens out of them because they're pecking them. So this fence is energized. It should shock them a little bit. I already hear it grounding out. The pumpkins will probably encroach on it. The grass will obviously grow up to it. So it's not going to be like a super hot fence, but hopefully it's enough to keep them out, because that's ultimately the goal. That's basically it for this garden down here. I've just covered it in a 6mm black poly tarp. It's about 12 feet wide and I don't know how long, probably 30 to 40 feet. I have about 9 or 10 months until I'm actually going to use this garden bed, so there's a pretty significant amount of time where this ground is going to be covered, and my hope is that this black tarp will kill all of the weeds and the grass that are currently growing in that bed. But I'm not really expecting it to kill the seed bank kind of underneath the soil. So my expectation is that next spring I'm still going to have to do some weeding. I just hope that that weeding is limited to the rows between the crops. That's basically all I have for this week. I got to dig into the house next week. I need to fix some water damage that's happening on our breezeway and figure out why our porch is sagging. We also have our bees that we need to process that honey for, and we need to manage some apples that are ripening on our trees. And honestly, that'll probably take us into fall, where we will harvest more apples.